Each and every one of you parents this afternoon, we're excited to be able to come into your home or your car or wherever you might be on your phone or your computer. Get the opportunity to spend some more time with you again. Last week we came to you. We're going to do this again next week so that we can provide as many answers to whatever questions or concerns that you might have. I want to welcome each of you where your children attend either East Grand Preparatory or our new campus at Buckner Preparatory at Military and Buckner in the Pleasant Grove area. We want to let you know that we're very glad to be here with you today. And also I want to especially recognize and welcome all of our new parents that are joining us for the first time this year. My name is Leonard Brannon, and I'm the CEO and superintendent and co-founder of Cityscape Schools. Both of our campuses this year, we're expecting over 1,400 students from grades pre-K 3 through grade 8. And so I know you've got a lot of questions and a lot of concerns about what's going to be happening. Some of you may be with us again from last week. Many of you, this may be your first time on our Facebook Live and our YouTube channels. And so I want to be able to speak to both of the groups today, regardless. And I think every one of you, I know, just like myself, been doing a lot of things to try to keep safe during this COVID pandemic. Many of you have been sheltering in place. You've been practicing social distancing. You've been wearing masks, and when you're not at home, maybe some of you even at home, you're wearing your mask. And you may be asking yourself and wondering, how safe could it be for my children to be able to come to school and be safe for them? Or you might be wanting to know what will happen if I decide if I want my child to stay home and not come to the campus. We are going to open school September the 8th, which is the first day after Labor Day. We moved our opening 3 weeks forward. I know many of you already know that. And you're going to be able, as a parent, to make the decision whether or not you want to have your child taught with our at-home virtual 2.0 learning in online system, or you want to come here to the campus and do face-to-face instruction. Cityscape Schools has been studying and looking at all the options that we have. Our leadership team over these last several months have literally put hundreds of hours into what is it going to take to reopen schools safely, to provide at-home virtual learning for your student, if that's your choice. But I know that all of you have been watching in Dallas County what's been happening with the COVID infections. And fortunately, over the last several weeks, we begin to see a really positive trend downward. For about 18 days in a row, we were having well over 1,000 infections every day. But over the last 3 weeks, we averaged just 820 new cases. 2 weeks ago, we were averaging only 654 cases. And last week, the average was only 463 cases. And yesterday, the total new cases reported in Dallas County was only 298 cases. So that's a great trend that we are excited to see. But we also know that right now, we don't know what's going to happen next week or the week after that for sure. It's a good trend. It's going in the right direction to flatten the curve, to make it safer for you and your family and for our staff. And I believe Governor Abbott's orders mandating for all of us to wear masks. He also closed all the bars and then began to cut back on all the restaurants to 50% occupancy. And I believe these measures has helped create this downward trend, which tells me, and should also communicate strongly to you, is if we all do everything we're supposed to do to social distance, wear our mask, wash our hands, what I'm now calling the 3 W's, if we do those things, that it's going to be safe for you and your child. With all this in mind, we intend to open school with both home virtual learning 2.0 and face-to-face instruction for those of you that want to bring your children to their school. And I want you to know this decision, with the way things have changed from sometimes day to day, could change between now and then, but that is our direction right now. And we're going to be looking at all the guidance that we get from the Texas Education Agency, from the governor's office, from the Dallas County Health Department, and continuing to monitor things really literally on a daily basis. And we'll keep you informed as we move closer to the opening of our first day of school. Cityscape Schools has been working very hard, as I said. And last week, we had about 550 of our families that had responded to the questionnaire that's very important for you to let us know what is your choice, what do you want for your child to attend. Right now, we're well over 600 families have answered that. And there may be some of you today, you're saying, well, what are you talking about? And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. But on our website, on www.cityscapeschools.org, if you go to our news and announcements on the front homepage, there is a selection you can make that'll take you right to that questionnaire, so you can tell us today. You do not have to answer or send another questionnaire in if you've already given us your answer. Now, we are going to allow parents, as they continue to look at what's going on in Dallas County, as some of you hear more of the things that we're doing to make schools safe for your children, some of you may want to change your mind. Some of you may have said, I want my child to come face-to-face and take instruction at the campus. And then you may decide by now, no, I'm really not feeling good about that, and I want my child to be at home taking online instruction. Well, you'll be able to make that change, and you can change your mind up until August the 24th. You've got till August the 24th to go to this link and to change your mind. Otherwise, all you have to do is one time, go to that link and put in your choice, and they'll let us know what you want to do. It's very critical you do that. It's very important for us to know, for us to be able to allocate the teachers and all the other staff to make sure that we know where we need to put our staff to make sure your children and school is ready to go on September the 8th. Now, this decision you make, you're going to be making it for a 9-week grading period. You will be making it for the length of our 9-week period. And at the end of that 9-week period, or toward the end of that 9-week period, you'll be able to make this decision again. If you decide our second 9 weeks that you want your child to go remote when they've been face-to-face, you can make that decision. And so all those things are left up to you. Now, about 70% of you have already told us that you want to do at-home virtual 2.0 learning, while about 30% of you want face-to-face instruction at the campus. And so we're already noticing your choices. When we first started taking your surveys, even a couple of months ago, it was about 50-50. About 50% of you wanted to do online virtual training or instruction, and the rest of you wanted to do face-to-face. And now it's 70-30. And so we may see that trend go up or go down. We're watching that, and our curriculum and instructional team and leadership is watching that so they can make sure that they are staffing properly when we open up school. Now, I want to take a few minutes to let you know what we have planned for the reopening. But before I get into that, I want to let you know right now that you can go ahead and go to the chat on both either Facebook or on your YouTube. And if you have questions you want to answer us, you can go right there right now and send that question to us, and we'll be answering them in just a few minutes. I also want to let you know that there is a F&Q. We've got about 60 questions that we have already answered from parents that have already asked us last week and in between last week and the time today. And we have that on our website, and there will be a link that you will be able to see in your chat box for all of your, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, and you'll be able to find that link so you can go and even go there and see answers to lots of questions. But we are here to answer your questions today if you have any. So if you want to begin to jot those down or type those questions in, we'll be answering them in just a minute. Before we do that, I want to let you know that we have 2 guidebooks. We have this one right here that is our Global Learning Community Guide. This Global Learning Community Guide is created for you so that you can look and see what we have planned in many of the things that we'll be doing as far as making sure things are safe for your children. Also, we're talking about both of the 2 methods of teaching we'll be providing, whether it's online or face-to-face. You can go there, you can download that right now, and you'll be able to see exactly some of the things that we have planned. We also have this guidebook, which is Reopening School Employee Guide. This is actually created for our employees so that they would be able to see what we're going to be requiring of them. I think this is important for you to read, for you to look at. I want you to see the detail. I want you to see the things that they're going to be required to do, because they're going to be the ones that's helping make sure that things are in order and that your child or your children will be safe. So you can go right now on our website if you want at www.cityscapeschools.org. And they're also putting this link up in the chat box so that you will be able to go to them and find those for yourself. These two guides, I'm calling them our COVID Bibles. And the reason I'm calling that is because we're going to live and we've got to do everything that's in that. It's also a living, breathing document that is going to change as things change around us. I've already made changes. There's already been an updated version and some things that have taken place that we know that we've already had to change. And so those are already uploaded. And so the link that you go to, you'll have the most updated version. But we will keep you informed through that. And I want to assure you that we're doing everything that we can to make sure your children are going to be safe if you choose face-to-face instruction. We've literally invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in your children's safety to make each campus as safe as we possibly can. But I want to be really honest with you, there's only one way that we can really guarantee your child's going to be safe. And that's if you let your child stay at home and do our online instruction model. And the reason for that is because they'll be home. I can assure you that we're doing everything to make sure they'll be safe, but I want you to know how important it is that we want to leave that decision up to you. And I know right now this is a hot potato question right now in our country and in our community. And I know many of you wonder why we'd even open up school. Many of you wonder what we're doing even opening up school. Well, I'll tell you, about 30% of our parents, it's really important that we have school open. And not only that, but we're required by TEA to have school to be open so that we will be able to provide instruction for your children if you want that option. And so but I think it's really up to you. I believe you know what's best for your children. I believe you know what's best for you and your family. It's not my decision. It's not an administrator's decision to make for you. It's one that you need to make with your family, with those that you love, those that you care about, for you to decide what's best for you. And then what we're going to do is do everything to ensure if you come here starting on September the 8th and bring your child here to do face-to-face instruction, you can believe that we're going to make it safe for your children. So to help you make that decision, I want to give you a brief overview of some of the things that we've done and are doing to keep your children safe and healthy. We're doing this at both of our campuses, at East Grand Preparatory and also at Buckner Preparatory. Every child, first, I want you to know this, every child is going to either receive a Chromebook or a tablet depending upon their grade level and whatever is developmentally appropriate for your child. We're working really hard right now to get all those devices. You can imagine the thousands and thousands, literally millions of devices right now that are being ordered across the nation, literally across the world right now, because every school is in the same position that we are. Fortunately, we made a lot of decisions early on. I think we're in a great position, but we're still waiting to try to get all those devices in place. The other thing is we're going to make sure that if you do not have an internet connection, we're going to make sure that you have a hotspot that has unlimited data and also has an unlimited speed. It will not be throttled back. You'll be able to, whether you have 2 or 3 children on that or whatever, you'll be able to maintain an internet connection and be able to get to all the LMS system that we've created and everything we're doing online, and you'll be able to do that whether you have internet at home or not. Now, also, every child is going to receive a mask, actually 3 of them, and they're going to be required to wear those masks on the campus. They're going to be issued reusable masks so that when they come home every day, you take that mask, you put that in a washing machine or in the sink or whatever you want to do to clean that, and let it dry, and they can wear it back the next day. And they'll bring that home to you. If for some reason your child comes to school, they forgot their mask, or you're rushing out like most parents are, trying to get their children to school on time, you can be assured we will have an extra mask for them if they need it for that day. We have disposable masks that they can use for the day, and we'll give that to them before they enter the building. Also, when your child exits the car, before they ever even get away from your car, we're going to be taking their temperature. We're not going to let any child into the school that's running a temperature for any reason. And you will have to take your child home until that temperature goes away without any aid of any sort of fever-reducing medication. Then when your children, they go directly to their classroom, and when they get to the classroom, they will be taking their mask off, and they will be putting on a face shield. And they will be given that face shield that they will wear during the day. We believe that overall that's going to be a lot easier for them to manage, to keep those on. As you know, sometimes these masks right here become a little bit uncomfortable. And we think that the face shields will be easier for them. Not only that, but our teachers will have face shields. And also teachers and staff will be allowed, if they want, they can wear their face shield and also wear their mask, because we want to make sure that everybody's safe, including our own staff. And then something else that we've done is every student table and every student desk is going to be covered with an acrylic plexiglass partition. And what this is going to do is keep your child separated and safely social distance when in reality they may be within 6 feet of another child. Now, one of the advantages that right now only 30% of our children at this time plan to attend face-to-face instruction when we open school on the 8th of September. That's going to lower the number of children in every classroom. So we believe that will even increase the ability to do social distancing and even make it safer for your children. Another thing that will be happening is your children will not be changing classrooms. They're not going to go to PE in the gym. We're in this beautiful gym right now, but for this season of time, we're not going to be opening that up. We do not believe it's safe to let several classrooms come in here at a time and have PE or gym. And so they will be staying in the classroom. They're going to eat their breakfast and their lunch in the classrooms. If a teacher change has to occur because of the type of instruction or the grade level that your child is attending, then the children will not change from classroom to classroom, but teachers will be changing and coming into your child's classroom. In other words, the children are going to be in their classroom, and they're going to stay there for the entire day. The only time that they may leave their classroom will be going to the restrooms. And some of you have already been asking, what are you going to do to make sure those restrooms are safe for our children? Well, one of the things that we've done is we're going to be dedicating all of our janitorial staff during the daytime. All that they're going to be doing is going into those restrooms and other high-touch areas, and they're going to be continuously cleaning those areas with disinfecting and making sure the areas are clean and safe. What we've done is we've now hired third-party people that are going to come in the evening, and they will be doing a cleaning every night. Also, every night, we're going to, what I call the COVID buster machine. You ever heard of the ghost busters? Well, we got the COVID buster machines. We've got 4 of them. We can literally go into a classroom within 2 to 3 minutes. We can completely disinfect everything in that classroom. And when that solution, kind of like a gas or whatever, begins to just come down on the surfaces, it dries on the surfaces. So when your child comes back the next morning, it is safe again, and all the germs have been killed if there's anything on there whatsoever. We've been using those now for several years. We use them during the high season when there's a lot of flu epidemics going on. You would have never known that, but we've been using them for several years. They're great technology. And so every evening, not only are we going to clean the campuses, but every office, every hallway, every classroom is going to be ghost busted. It's going to be COVID busted. And so also, over the weekend, one other thing that we'll be doing is this third party will be doing a special deep cleaning of every facility. And they'll also be applying this disinfectant again one more time so that when your child gets back on Monday, everything will be fresh and ready again. So we're doing everything we can, everything possible to make it safe for your children. But I want you to know that you got to make the choice what's best for you and your child. And we're going to respect that and honor that regardless of what that is. And we're going to be prepared for that, whatever decision you make. Now, I said already that we want to hear from you. And so I'm going to stop talking. And I want to now turn it over to David Tequattle, our Chief Operating Officer. And I also want to introduce Dr. Billy Farrell to my right. Dr. Farrell is our Chief Officer of Culture and Climate. Thank you. And he's here to help me because our Chief Academic Officer, Elda Rojas, was not able to be here today. And so he's going to help us on instructional questions that you may have, where David or myself or Mr. Torquato or myself may not be able to answer for you.
Okay. We have several questions that we received before and several coming into the feed. I want to remind everybody that many of these questions have been already answered, and we're putting the link for the document, the FAQ document that Mr. Brannon referred earlier, where all of these questions are in a document already answered. But I'm going to touch on them because they keep coming. One is, when are we going to know what classes our kids are going to be, especially the ones that are going to do virtual learning? There will be a Meet the Teacher, virtual Meet the Teacher on September 3rd. Maybe you will know your kid's placement before, but no later than September 3rd, you will know who your teacher is for all classes. Also, on that day, they're going to have orientation, or everything that happens in the Meet the Teacher regular function. Another one we have: are you expecting or require the students to report to school at some point during the year?
Yeah, let me answer that. Right now, I say let me answer that, but right now I don't have an answer for that. What I mean is that it's really going to depend on what continues to take place with this COVID pandemic. Right now, we're prepared to do at-home instruction all year long. It'll also will depend on what the Texas Education Agency tells us to do, or what our governor might tell us to do. So we get our guidance from primarily two sources. We get it from the Texas Education Agency, the commissioner, and we also get it from the governor and in his office, and he directs us and tells us what to do. But at this point, I believe more than likely we'll be doing at-home instruction more than likely for the rest of the year. And but we'll also be doing face-to-face instruction. I would like to say this about face-to-face instruction at the campus. Some people say, well, what happens if someone is infected with the COVID virus? What if you have a staff member or a child that gets infected? We have a document that should be available hopefully tomorrow on our website that you'll be able to be able to look at. And it'll tell you 5 different scenarios that we have come up with that will kind of give us some guidelines about what actions we would take depending on whether a child actually is infected with COVID or if it's a staff member or whatever. And so there's always the possibility, and we know this going in, that even though we're planning to reopen schools safe, and we're doing all these things we're talking about, we're going overboard to make it more than safe for your child. It could be that we might have to, if a child and a child may have either symptoms or something in a classroom, we may have to shut that classroom down for a couple of hours or so, depending on the situation, go in there with our COVID buster machines and do a disinfectant of the whole area of that classroom again. And the kids may be able to go back in there again and that child go home. Or it could be that we might have to close school for a couple of days. And if that happens and we close school for a couple of days, then immediately the next morning, everybody will be doing at-home virtual 2.0 learning. We're not going to miss instruction, days of instruction. School will go on, but it'll just automatically, everything will shift to remote instruction. Or it could get to the point, whether it's in our community or whether it's in our school or both of our schools, where the rate would get too high or there may be too many cases, we may have to close school for a couple of weeks. There's no way we really know. We just have to have plans in place so when whatever happens, we're prepared for that. And we believe that we do have the methodology and the preparation will be ready for when your child does come back to school.
There are several questions about uniforms. These questions have been answered already in the document, but here they are. Are the kids required to wear uniforms? Mr. Brannon has placed a waiver on uniforms for virtual and face-to-face learning. So you will not be required to wear a uniform if that causes a financial struggle for you. So the uniforms have been waived for the first semester. The other question we have here is, can my kids wear their own mask? yes, as Mr. Brennan said, we will be providing 3 reusable masks for your kids to take home and wash at home and all that. But if you want to provide your own, it is okay. There's questions about colors. You can wear whatever mask you want. The only restriction that we're having in place is the same that we have for T-shirt policies. There cannot be any messages printed on that mask.
Yeah, let me add a couple of things to that, if you don't mind, Mr. Tequadle. On the uniforms, yes, we are relaxing the uniform guidelines because I don't really think a lot of the new parents that are coming in right now, I really don't think it would be wise or it's unnecessary for them to go buy uniforms if they don't know if their child's going to be in school or not. We're not going to require them to wear uniforms at home. But if you have your uniforms, you've already bought them, and if you want to buy uniforms and your child's coming to school face-to-face, go ahead and get them. You can go on our website again, all the information about where that location is. We have now moved to a new vendor that provides our uniforms. The reason we did that, we heard from you over the years that there was a lot of situations where you were having a lot of trouble getting your uniforms done in time, that you would try to go there and try to get sized, and it would just be a mess. You'd have to wait in long lines, and I kept working with the other vendor trying to get them to take care of those situations, and they just did not change. So we do have a new vendor now, so we hope that the customer service experience you'll have will be a lot better. So I want to encourage you, if you want to buy uniforms and want your children in those uniforms and you want your kids to wear them, they can come to school with them. But it's not going to be a requirement for at least the first semester. And also, as far as the mask, the main thing is we don't want any type of messages, any type of logos. Now, we are going to be making masks. I think these are going to be a hit. I've asked Mr. Tequadle to order these. We're going to be ordering masks that will have our logos and also have our eagles for our East Grand and also lions for our Buckner Prep students. So they can wear those with school pride. So we will be making those available to you if you want to purchase them. It'll be a nominal cost, literally pretty much whatever we pay for them, we'll pass that on to you if you'd like to use those masks.
What is the protocol for totally withdrawing your child from school to homeschool?
It would be no different than whether you're withdrawing your student for any reason. You just need to contact the registrar office at whatever school your child is attending and let them know that you're going to be homeschooling your child yourself, and then they will close out your child's enrollment at whatever school they're attending.
One thing about that, this question came before, and if you withdraw your kid, you will lose your spot. And if you 6 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks from today want to re-enroll, there's a chance that if that spot is taken, you'll be put in the wait list. So that's
very important, Mr. Tequadle. Yeah, you need, before you do that, you really want to consider, do you want to take a chance of losing your spot? Because you may end up on our wait list and not be able to get your child back into our school.
Will the dual language program still be available, specifically if our child was in it last year? I recall the children having to change classrooms for the program. Ms. Rojas has expressed that both curriculums and every classes will be exactly the same. Of course, with those changes, they are preparing accommodations and they're planning accordingly for virtual kids, so that can take place as well. But yes, the dual language program is still going on.
Yeah, let me just add something to that, David, if you don't mind. If your child is face-to-face, for instance, here at the campuses, where they might be changing classrooms. In this case, they're not going to change classrooms, but they're pairing, the teachers that pair off together in our dual language program, they will be moving to the different classrooms.
When will virtual class students be able to pick up Chromebooks, tablets, books? Will you schedule pickup days by grade level to lessen traffic? Yes. The week before school starts, which is August 31st, to September 4th, you will receive a schedule when you can come and pick up all materials. Depending on grade level, there might be some materials and packets, maybe, or the devices that you're going to need. If my kids attended last year, are they automatically enrolled for this year? Yes, they are. When online school starts, online and face-to-face start the same day, September the 8th. There's some parent that wants clarification on what happens if they change their mind within the 9-week period. You can change after the 9-week period. Let's assume, just as an example, that you choose at home virtual instruction. And in the middle of those 9 weeks, you change your mind, you need to wait till that grading period ends, those 9 weeks end, to change your choice.
Yeah, let me add, David. Let me tell you where that's coming from. That is the guidance and the requirements from the Texas Education Agency. They say that we cannot change any sooner than that. We have to allow you to stay in that, and then you can change in the next grading period.
For home learning, parents who work full-time, will the kids be able to log in at a specific time, or is it still self-paced? The model calls for asynchronous and synchronous times. Asynchronous means the students can work on their own. They can be self-paced with projects or assignments, but there will also be synchronous times, meaning at the same time, where kids will be live on the computer with their teachers. So those times will be required for your students to be online. We have answered about picking books and tablets. So you're saying even the children that attend school will get a Chromebook to have just in case the school has to close due to COVID?
Yes. Yeah, let me explain this. We are actually going to a 1-to-1 device ratio, and what that means is every student will have a Chromebook, whether they're attending face-to-face or whether they're attending remotely at home virtual 2.0 learning. And then for children, it's really our pre-K 3 and 4-year-olds that will be receiving tablets because they're more developmentally appropriate for them. But if your child is a kindergarten or up, they will each receive a Chromebook.
What if we already have some with the school logo? Can they wear those? I'm assuming that's T-shirts or maybe, I'm not sure we have masks out there with the logo, but yes, if you have any of that pride.
Yeah, if you have any clothing that has our logos, our markings, our names, maybe the T-shirts that they wore normally, if they're attending face-to-face, they can do that. And you know what, moms and dads, I want to let you know that even if your child is attending virtually, it really wouldn't hurt if they wanted to show a little school spirit and put their T-shirts on or put anything that they might have that would show their school spirit, because it's unfortunate. If we had our choice, we'd want all your children here, and I really know that would be your first choice, and it'd be the best choice for your children. But the reality is that just can't happen right now, and so unfortunately, we're going to try to do everything we can to make the school still seem to be as much of a community and a family like it always has been.
Is it healthy for the small kids, 4 years to 6 years, to wear masks for 8 hours during school, according to science?
Yeah, I can answer that. That's the reason why they're going to be wearing face shields. I think that some children may have a more difficult time with masks. I know that I've been out and about, either in the grocery store or at the car wash or doing different sorts of errands and different things, and I have asked a lot of parents that I have seen that had little children there with them. They'd have their mask on, and I asked them, how difficult was that for your child to learn to do that? I told them that I'm a superintendent of 2 schools, and we're going to have to be learning what that's about and what it's like. All of our children are grown, and because we've been social distancing and all the different things involved, I haven't seen all my grandchildren in quite some time, and so I really don't know how they're doing, but I've been able to talk to some other parents, and in talking to them, they've told me that over time, and it's become much easier for a child to wear the mask. But during the school day, they'll not be wearing the mask, they'll be wearing a face shield. So they will not have something up against their face, up against their nose, or against their mouth.
We have a couple of questions that are very specific to specific students. We have identified some of those, and some of you have sent your questions as well. We will not be touching on those here publicly, but we will identify those and make sure that our principals will respond to you directly with those specific questions. We have one: how can we sign up our child for dual language for virtual learning?
Well, virtual learning is going to be, whether you're in the dual language program, whether it's at face-to-face or at home, is going to be the same. There will have to be some type of accommodations, and I know that our leadership team right now, our instructional leadership team right now is working on that and all the way that will look. But if your child's at home virtually, they will still be receiving the same dual language programming that they would if they were here at the school.
What are some expectations from parents concerning online learning? Expectations for parents?
For parents?
What is expected for
Yeah,
parents?
let me answer that. It took me a second to understand the question, David. Let me tell you kind of what our expectations are. Number one, we don't expect you to be their teacher. I think many of you had to jump in and try to be a teacher last spring because we had to turn this thing on a dime and we had to get up and get going, and we didn't really have any notice. None of us did. It was a surprise to all of us. But we do not want you to be the child's primary teacher. Your child's teacher will be involved with them on a daily basis, making contact with them, and will be involved there. Now, we're going to be asking you to give some support possibly and some help. There will be opportunities at different times for all your teachers where they'll be on in their schedule, they'll be given a time so that you can contact them through Parent Square, the app and the software that we have, so that you can communicate directly with your teacher, ask them questions, and get help for your children. But we do not plan for you to have to be the teacher of your child. Our plan is for our teachers to teach your child virtually. That's why we're calling it At-Home Virtual 2.0, because in the spring we called it 1.0, and this is our new version, and we're really excited about what we're going to be bringing to you.
Related to that, how accessible will teachers be? Again, at some point they will be synchronous, meaning at the same time they will be talking to your students on live, just like we are doing right now, but at some point they will be assigned work, and if there's any questions, they will be able to communicate via the learning platform or the other means that we have.
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit of something that we're doing that's new this year. We are going to be implementing an LMS system, which is a learning management system, which is different than what we had last spring. The Texas Education Agency, the state of Texas, I just want to say this to all of you. Sometimes TEA gets a bad rap, but I want to let you know that I really believe the Texas Education Agency has really gone overboard to help us, our government, our governor. They've given us funds. They're giving us money. They're providing millions and millions of dollars of PPEs for all of our schools. We've already got all of our mini masks, face shields, hand sanitizer. They're providing us many things. They're also, right now, over the last few weeks, are allocating $200 million to provide us with Chromebooks and all the different things across the state. And so I really want to say that Texas Education has done a wonderful, wonderful job.
There are Spanish dominant parents or just parents in general who are not tech knowledgeable. How can we organize a teaching session for them? We have not planned for that, honestly, but that's a great idea. And I think that the best way to do this will be to wait for you to have the Chromebooks. And once that happens, I think we can organize some nightly sessions or some kind of help so you can understand the platforms and provide that support that you're going to have to do. But we'll work on that definitely. Will there still be after-school or recreational activities? If so, will there be a virtual option? Well, for after school, you will be at home. Recreational activities.
Yeah, let me talk a little bit about that, and then actually, Mr. Quaddle actually helps oversee the after-school program, and we are going to be providing that, but we do have to have a minimum number of children to participate so that it's financially viable to our vendor that provides it. So if you want after-school programming for your child, please, when you show up here at school face-to-face, sign up and get your child registered for that. And so we will be providing it as long as we have enough children to make it financially viable, for them.
I just got a text from Ms. Rojas, and she's saying that she was already planning to have some sessions for technology training for parents. So it'll be great. Do you have ready a schedule for kids that take virtual classes? I need to know what time will be breakfast and lunchtime at school so I can have his lunch ready at the same time. I believe that next week you're going to start receiving a lot more information, specific information about the classes and potentially schedules about that.
Yeah, why don't you answer that? I think you worked last night on the
I
question.
spoke with, hello? I spoke with Ms. Rojas last night, and she said exactly that there will be more information on www.cityscapeschools.org beginning next week. So again, it's www.cityscapeschools.org, and there is a tab for parents. And if you'll start there, more information to come.
Will you all provide Wi-Fi hotspots for those who don't have Wi-Fi at home? Yes, we have already identified several families, and we'll be providing hotspots. And they will be potentially distributed the week before school. We already answered about AlphaBest. They will be available, granted that we have the minimum number of kids enrolled in that program. How will the teacher be able to teach both kids at the same time, face-to-face and virtual? I think it's important to note that we will not have teachers teaching both models. There will be some teachers assigned to face-to-face instructions and some teachers assigned to online and virtual instruction. So they will not have to handle both groups. Will the teachers work with full-time working parents who cannot be there in the mornings to log their kids in for any required live instructions with the teacher? I guess that the question is that the students will not be able to log in at all if the parents are not there, and if there's going to be an option there.
I would say if the parent's not there for some reason, the child, depending upon their age, would still be able to log in and meet with their teacher online and also perform and do any sort of assignments or things that they can see, because they'll be able to go into our new LMS system and be able to find out what their assignments are, what their special projects may be, or if the teacher tries to get in touch with them.
Will the virtual learning be the duration of a school day? We will not have 8 hours of continuous classes with the kids. It's not healthy for kids to be sitting on the computer the 7 straight hours. So that's why, again, there will be times where they will have assignments. They can disconnect a little bit from the computer, probably work on their workbooks or other activities, and there will be also sometimes. And again, that schedule and the specifics will come next week.
And Ms. Rojas, I'm sorry, she's writing as she's listening, very helpful. She is saying several things, that we are hiring a parent engagement specialist that will be working with the parents for the entire year, both face-to-face and virtual. We will train parents and students both on logging in. And I was thinking, Mr. Brennan, and I was listening to the question, if the parent's not there, surely depending on the child's age, some adult will be with them and able to help log in. And finally, it says that of course the student and parent will always be able to call their teacher.
One more question. Will at-home students also receive breakfast and lunch meals? We touched on this last week, and there was a very important announcement. Every student, regardless of their economic status, is eligible now to receive free breakfast and free lunch. So if your student is at the school, they will eat in their classrooms, they will receive free breakfast and free lunch. If you're at home, you will be able to come, and just like we did during the summer, you will be able to come and pick up your breakfast and lunch for your students. We're still working with the Texas Department of Agriculture on all the rules that they're going to put in place. We would like to be able to provide multiple meals so you don't have to come every day. But we're working with them on what is going to be the way we're going to be able to make this. One distinction that we need to make is we will just be providing 5 meals per week, not 7 like we were doing in the summer. And also, it will be only for kids enrolled into school. During the summer, we were able to provide meals to the community, and we provided tens of thousands of meals for our immediate community. But now that school is officially starting, those meals will be available only to enrolled students.
Yeah, let me step in. We've got about 5 more minutes because we've got to prepare to do this Facebook Live and also our YouTube channels, our Spanish version of this that will be happening at 3 p.m. So if you if you speak bilingual, if you speak both English and Spanish, you'll be able to have both if you want to attend both. But I just want to remind you a few things before we have to go. We already have a lot of these questions that you've asked today are in our F&Q, and that link has already been sent out to you on the chat box already, so you can go on our website and find that. Also, it's very important, I want to remind you, it's very, very critical and very important that you go and make sure if you've not yet selected the model of instruction you want, either at home instruction or at school, face-to-face instruction, it's very critical that you go make that selection. You will be allowed to change that if you've already done it, now you've changed in your mind, but you only have until August the 24th to get that decision made. And you have to make it for at least a 9-week grading period duration of time. Also, I want to remind you, don't forget, read these guides that we put together. It will answer a lot of the questions you've been asking us. You can find them on our website. The link has been also put in the chat box. This one here is for our employees. It'll show you everything that's happening what we're going to require of our employees and what we're going to expect from them. And also this one here, which is our Global Learning Community Guide, will tell you many of the sanitation and safety things that we're doing for your children, but also what's critical, it will define and explain both of our teaching models and what you can expect. So it'll be very important for you to download these and look at these. And so in the last couple of minutes I have, I just again want to just thank you for joining us. We're here for you. We're here for your children. Many years ago, when we started this school, we wanted to make sure that every child, regardless of their zip code, could receive a quality education in the city of Dallas. And so we're very grateful to be able for you to entrust your children to us like you do every year. And we want you to know we're here for you. We believe that we can keep your child safe, but we also want you to know that it's your choice. And if you have any other questions, there's also another way you can get questions to us. If you want to, you can email us at COVID, COVID info, CovidInfo@cityscapeschools.org. And if you'll send us that email, we will respond back to you either by email or we'll get back to you next week when we come back to you at the same time next week on Wednesday at 2 p.m. for our English version and 3 p.m. for our Spanish version. We want to thank you, and we'll see you next week.